This is some really sad news, this. There's a club in Scotland that is on the absolute verge of being no longer a football club, about being completely disbanded. And that club is Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Inverness Thistle, whatever you want to call them. A big club by Scottish standards for sure. They were in the Scottish Premier League just a couple seasons ago, but I believe they've had back-to-back relegations and they're currently playing in the Scottish third tier. And indeed, they are 9th out of 10 teams as well, so they might well go down a division come what may off the field. But according to this article on the BBC News, there's 2 weeks left to save the club. 2 weeks. Let's have a look at this. This is horrible news. Before I get into it though, I just want to say I've been to Inverness. It's a big city. It's basically the biggest city in the Highlands in Scotland. It's near Loch Ness, hence the name. It's really, really sad, this. You know, it's got a lot of potential, this club, and they have had success in the past, but they've really, really fallen on hard times now. So let's have a read of this. So Inverness Caledonian Thistle has proposed setting up a crowdfunding page to raise £200,000 in 2 weeks to avoid being placed into administration this month. The 2015 Scottish Cup winning side has told shareholders that without the funds, the club will be insolvent, i.e. its debts are bigger than the value of the club, of all its assets and everything. So effectively, it is worse than nothing. It is negative, effectively. It has suggested setting up a Save ICT appeal, Inverness Caledonian Thistle being ICT, and has asked shareholders for any other innovative ideas to generate substantial funding. But ICTFC added that to survive until the end of this season next May, it would need to find a credible buyer or up to £1.6 million in investment and finish second in League One to earn the runners-up prize money. They're currently in 9th, like I said. ICTFC's financial problems were exposed after it was relegated from the Scottish Championship last season. Fans reacted angrily to the drop to League One and the subsequent issues, including they plan to move the Jags' training base to Fife. Losses ran to £1.2 million last season, and the club has forecasted a similar loss this season, but warned that figure would not include money spent on restructuring following relegation. A football club enters in administration when its debts are greater than its assets, or when it cannot pay its debts when due to according to Trade Association R3. It's something that's happened to a lot of clubs in the UK over the years. Think Portsmouth in the Premier League a while ago. Investor and former chairman Alan Savage revealed in last week's episode of BBC Scotland's A View from the Terrace that putting the club into administration would ease the financial pressures. Yeah, but it would doom them to relegation pretty much at that point, because if it's the same as England, which I believe is probably similar, then they'll have a 12-point deduction, so they ain't going to finish second, put it that way. They are probably going to get relegated again. But he said it risked a deduction in league points as punishment, and even the potential of being relegated to the part-time professional Highland League, which is the 5th tier of Scottish football. ICTFC was in talks with a potential buyer earlier this year, but later suspended the negotiations. In a letter, the club told shareholders, "We need to accept the reality of the situation with that debt in May 2025, likely to be between £1.4 and £1.6 million to cover cash loss, potential claims and backlog creditors, and a balance sheet starting at a negative £3.8 million by the financial year end in May 25. Finding a credible buyer is highly aspirational. Yes, it is, unfortunately, that much debt, because even if they buy it for the fabled £1, they're taking on that amount of debt, and that debt's only getting bigger. So they need a lot of money to invest into it, and seeing as though that'd be very difficult to see a return on, it's not great. You'd rather invest your money in a club that is more stable, it doesn't have massive debts like that. It said unless the appeal can raise $200,000 immediately, and certainly by Wednesday the 16th of October, then administration is inevitable because the club will be insolvent. In the letter, the club said its role in a proposed battery electric storage scheme could earn it $3.4 million, but the project is subject of a legal wrangle after Highland councillors refused the development of planning permission. ICT Supporters Trust urged major shareholders and former directors to help prevent the club going into administration. It said, "We are hugely concerned about recent events regarding the club's financial future. It was only 5 weeks ago that supporters were advised that the club had been saved from administration and it was no longer a possibility." Well, now it's a probability looking at that. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. I mean, Scottish football it's not in the best place in general, let's be honest here. Although the national team's doing better now, to be fair. But you know, if you're not Celtic or Rangers and you fall out of the Scottish Premier League and you're a big club like that, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle. It's so tough, and unfortunately, financial mismanagement. I mean, I've heard a whole saga about the owner situation, which is laughably tragic. Some of the potential buyers that they've been speaking to, I guess it just reeks desperation, really, just kind of hoping these people are legit and they're not. Zealand, who's one of my favourite YouTubers on football, he's done a few videos on it. I know he's done a video as well on this very subject, on this very article, which is part of the reason why I'm covering it, because I saw it and I thought, oh, this is just absolutely gone off a cliff, unfortunately, for Cali Thistle. But yeah, I really hope that they find a buyer. It is horrible in this situation. I do not know what I would be doing if my club was in the same situation as this. You know, it could happen to any of them. It can happen to any club at any time. You know, it's like I said, unless you're one of the Glasgow Giants, you're at risk in Scotland. Unfortunately, Cali Thistle look, even in the best case scenario, likely to drop into the 4th tier of Scottish football, which I don't even know when the last time they were down that far has been. Long time probably. But yeah, if you're a Cali Thistle fan and you're listening to this, again, you know, let me know how it's got this bad so quickly, and also best of luck. I really hope you guys survive. Even if administration does come, I just hope there is a club there that survives and you don't have to drop into the Highland League, you know. In the main club in Inverness, which is like a city of over 100,000 people, or a town of over 100,000 people, you can't be in the 5th tier of Scottish football. That's just not right. It's just not right, but it could become a reality. I mean, Rangers were kicked out and put into the 4th tier. Crazy stuff's happening in Scotland. But yeah, I hope it goes well. I hope things rectify themselves soon. And of course, yeah, for more videos on football, hopefully ones less depressing than this, keep it tuned to thefootballchronicle.com, and we'll see you very soon.